Chapter 4, Part 4. I dismissed the whole encounter entirely. A month later, I visited Reba again. On the afternoon I was getting ready to leave, she had a group of friends over at her house while I was standing on her front lawn, packing the kids into the cart to head home. The same man I locked eyes with in church drove up in a white convertible. There's a woman riding in the passenger seat. The man stopped the car and started talking to my cousin. It was like a party exploded out of the car. He was so dynamic and full of energy. Cody introduced me to Cody Brown and his wife, Mary. I fought to suppress the memory of that electric sensation that I'd felt in church a month earlier. Shira was screaming at me from inside my head, warning me not to even look at Cody. It was difficult to ignore him. He was so animated and loud, but I did. I focused on Mary instead. She was sweet and engaging. Eventually, Cody noticed that I wasn't part of the small crowd that had gathered around him, so he turned to me and said, "And who's your husband?" "I don't have one," I said. Then he teased me about marrying me off to one of the guys sitting around on my cousin's lawn. I thought nothing of it as I drove off. I imagined that somewhere down the line I might be friends with Mary, but that was far as my thinking went concerning the Browns. A few weeks later, my mother started bugging me about attending a church dance back in Lehigh. I had no interest in going. I was embarrassed about showing my face as a single woman again, a divorcee. After all, everybody knew my story. I had been married to the son of a very prominent family, so my dirty laundry was public knowledge. It made me uncomfortable. My mother insisted that I get my scent out there. I agreed to go to the dance, but only to escort my brother and sister, who needed a social outlet. When I got to the dance, I felt like an idiot, but my mother was right, at least in part. I needed to put my face out there and show people that I wasn't ashamed. I was validated in the breakup of my marriage and had nothing to hide. At the dance, I ran into Mary. She immediately rushed over and started talking to me. She was friendly and sweet. "Thank you so much for talking to me," I said. "I feel like such an idiot right now. It was so nice of you to think of me." After a while, Mary returned to Cody and their friends. When the second to last song of the night came on, Cody asked me to dance. I was shocked. I remember thinking that Mary must have taken pity on me and made her husband dance with me. I felt like a complete loser. But I let Cody have his pity dance, and I thought it was kind of Mary to send him over. When Cody and I started dancing, we were immediately at ease with each other, felt relaxed around him. Cody was easy to talk to. We eventually stopped talking and stood chatting in the middle of the dance. During that song and the next, we opened up to each other like it was the most natural thing in the world. I forgot about the dance, the hall, and all of the people around us for 10 minutes. It felt like Cody and I were the only people in the world. All of a sudden, Cody said, "Well, will you excuse me, please?" They were saying a prayer to finish off the dance, and I hadn't even noticed. I'd completely lost track of time and place. It was as if Cody and I had escaped to an island together. I had been so involved in our conversation that I'd forgotten where we were. After the prayer, Cody and Mary came up to my sister and me and started talking. The four of us talked until they kicked us out of the hall. Then we stood on the steps in the dark of the building and talked until 2 in the morning. I was curious about Mary and wanted to get to know her better, but she was very quiet. Cody kept engaging my sister in conversation about plural marriage. She was a first wife and was interested in living the principle, which intrigued Cody. My impression of Cody was that he was a nice, thoughtful, interesting man who led the conversation. After he and Mary left, my sister started teasing me, telling me that she was sure Cody liked me, and I told her she had no idea what she was talking about. Then I explained it wouldn't have mattered if Cody had been head over heels for me. I had made an agreement with myself and with God. I was not letting myself out there. I was not available. If God wanted me to marry someone, then He'd have me hit me over the head with it and give me the irrefutable proof that this is what I was meant to do. In the meantime, I told my sister I'm going to figure myself out and get my kids in a safe situation. The next day, I drove home to southern Utah. I'd assume I'd never see Cody again. And now we are in the point of view of Cody. After Mary and I met Robin on the lawn of her cousin's house, Mary instantly sensed that there was something special about Robin. I was nervous because Robin was divorced, and divorce can bring a lot of technical difficulties in terms of blending families and raising another man's kids. I had always had declared that I would not invite this situation into my life, but the stirring I felt around Robin changed this almost right away. Mary was incredibly excited to run into Robin at the dance. She acted like a schoolgirl, figuring out how and when I should ask Robin to dance. The minute Robin and I hit the dance floor, I became transfixed by her spirit. I couldn't deny the spark I felt. Not the kind of spark you feel in your loins, but something deep and transcendent. I guess you could call it love at first sight. When we were talking after the dance, I went out of my way to avoid flirting with Robin and focus most of my energy on talking to her sister. By that time, I had a deep sense that there was a spiritual connection between us, but I didn't want to be overbearing or inappropriate. Eventually, I ended the conversation with Robin and her sister. I assumed that I would see Robin at church with the main congregation the next day. When Mary and I got home that night, we stayed up for 2 more hours talking about Robin. We rehashed the whole experience at the dance and after. We discussed our feelings about a new wife and whether Robin would be that person. Robin's energy really appealed to Mary. Mary was looking forward to having her as a friend as well as a potential sister wife. Despite our minor disagreements, our family was stable. All my wives were happy. Our children were happy. We had arrived at the place we'd been dreaming of since I married Christine. It seemed like an insane idea to threaten the peace in our house hold by considering a new wife. Both Mary and I were convinced that Robin had a wonderful spirit, kind and profound. Even our brief conversation with her stirred our souls. We wanted to get to know her better. I felt an undeniable connection to this woman I had just met, as in Mary. The connection was so deep and spiritual that it kept us up all night. We were lost in our own as we discussed this undeniable feeling. We both shared that Robin was not just a special person on her own, but a special person to us. Mary and I kept looking into each other's eyes, saying, "Something's happening. We feel something happening."